This is a great time of the year to watch one of the few comic book Christmas movies. Not that one. Iron Man 3. I still remember the hype I felt when Iron Man 3 was coming out. My middle school self was obsessed with the damn thing. All I cared about at that time were big titties and Iron Man 3. I hadn't entered adulthood yet, so this was my first real disappointment. I had sat through an entire Iron Man marathon at AMC Theater only to be sucker punched in the balls with Iron Man 3. After the Avengers, the internet hyped this thing up to be bigger than the Avengers. I thought Ben Kingsley looked sick as the Mandarin, the first trailer made the tone look so dark. I thought we were in for one of the greatest cinematic masterpieces of all time. Little did I know I would be betrayed. Watching this movie now though, it's actually super fun. Every time I go back for a rewatch, I find myself enjoying it more and more. Obviously, it's not as good as the first, and I did miss some of the tropes of those first two movies, but it still happens to be one of the funnest superhero movies I've ever seen. At this point in the story of Iron Man, they kind of broke the mold of what the first two movies were, and really took the character out of his comfort zone by taking him on a road trip across the country. His suits had become so advanced at this point that he was completely reliant on them, but in this one he actually had to rely on his intelligence to get by. And his biggest weakness in this movie is dealing with the anxiety of not being able to make it without his suits. As a middle schooler, I hated that they did this. I just wanted 2 hours of Iron Man blowing shit up throughout the entire movie. I was like, Iron Man is having anxiety attacks? Pussy. Now I'm an adult with crippling anxiety, so yeah, this movie slaps today. The action scenes are so much fun and surprisingly creative. I wish my expectations weren't so high back then because there is so much fun to be had here. I think my biggest disappointment was the hype of the Mandarin because they really did that character dirty. This movie takes the liberty of being its own thing outside of the first two movies. The dialogue for most of the characters is quippy, but it fits for the tone and actually makes for some seriously funny moments.
I guess he won because that was 6 years ago.
Which happens, dads leave, no need to be a pussy about it. Here's what I need.
The color and atmosphere make this one so vibrant and joyful. Putting this Iron Man in the Christmas season was an excellent idea because of this tone. It also just makes for a great movie to watch during the Christmas season if you're not looking to watch Elf for the millionth time. It's kind of like the Die Hard of comic book movies. And the stakes feel so much higher this time around because everything is being lifted up from under Tony's feet and his demons are coming back to haunt him. This becomes a great theme of the story and creates some interesting character development for Tony Stark. For once, he's going up against a villain that is able to outsmart him and overpower his suits. Did I want the Mandarin? Yes. But the villain we got fit so much better in this particular story and fit with the tone. And from the very beginning of the movie, they built that relationship. I think out of all three Iron Man movies, this one probably had the most intriguing villain. I wish they just made this movie without the Mandarin twist, but whatever. I'm over it. Sort of. This kind of felt like the definitive Iron Man movie. In terms of quality, it's not as good as the first one, but it gave this character his own unique score and an ending that felt like a true conclusion to the trilogy. This was one of the few MCU movies at the time that didn't try to set anything up. It was its own self-contained story with action that made the movie feel like a theme park ride in the best possible way. Again, I wish I could have found enjoyment in it the first time around, but I'm glad I can see it as a classic today. What are your thoughts on Iron Man 3, and did you have the same reaction your first time around? I'm pretty sure I was ready to start a riot the first time I watched it. It was a dark time. So, yeah. Bye.